Hey, you have Patrick Findaro here, co-founder at Vetted Biz. Very excited to have on a founder of a franchise system, as well as a second generation franchisee of that same brand, Dreammaker Bath and Kitchen. Today, I'm joined by Doug Dwyer, who is the founder of Dreammaker Bath and Kitchen, as well as a franchisee in Utah, Nate Coombs. So thanks so much, Doug and Nate, for joining today.
You bet. Good
You,
to be with you.
yeah, thank
And
you.
Doug, can you tell me a little bit about how you came up with Dreammaker? Did you have an experience in the kitchen and bath remodeling business, or how did you come up with it?
Yeah, well, I had worked in the company for a long time, and then I took it over in 1996. And the year prior, I had a gentleman work with us on transitioning into full service remodeling from the original brand. And so we moved into full service kitchen bath into remodeling, and our old name no longer matched what we did. And so we went through a name change and officially changed our name June 15th of 1999 to Dreammaker Bath and Kitchen. And really, where that comes from is if you read sales books about remodeling, it tells you, you know what, you're not selling really kitchens or baths, you're selling somebody's dream. So why not have in our name Dreammaker Bath and Kitchen to make the remodeling dreams come true? Or our tagline today is enhancing lives and improving homes.
Love it. And have the core values changed over the years? Because you have some really solid core values that seems like a mission driven
Yeah.
organization that franchisor franchisees are all on it together.
Yeah. Since we've been Dreammaker Bath and Kitchen, we have not changed the values. They're kind of the foundation and the bedrock, and they're also based on simple biblical principles coming out of the book of Proverbs. Just really treating people well, right, and just common sense in equal weights in the marketplace. If you've ever heard that old term, where we make sure we're pricing consistently based on what we're doing for one customer to the other. So we're not going to manipulate those because we think they can afford more.
That's well said. So, at the end of the day, transparency and not being greedy
Right.
with your customers. Maybe that there's a short term benefit from that, but long term, it will bite you financially or in another way.
Well, yeah, most remodeling companies are not far under attorneys with the Better Business Bureau, and we're working to be that trusted professional remodeler choice.
And what type of franchisees go into the space? Are they general contractors by trade? What kind of experience do they have?
Well, it depends on the season. Currently, what we're looking at is the majority of our franchisees are startups. And so they come out of corporate America. They're doing well, typically, six-figure incomes already. And so they're wanting to replace that, but also they're wanting to, get to see people and make a difference in people's lives and make a difference in their community, be more involved with their families. So they really like that. And then you have people that already had existing businesses and they're now looking at a new business or adding on a business. Like in Nate's case, his father had a architectural firm and he wanted to expand into remodeling. And so it was a second business for him and his operation. So those are the two big categories. But then a third one would be existing remodelers, where we actually have a conversion program to integrate their existing business into our brand. And that works out very well too. So if you look at our top 6 franchisees, about half historically have been conversions and half are startups.
That's pretty impressive because I've studied the conversion model and there's not many franchises that actually act on it. They might promote that they do conversions, but people don't sign up for it. So that doesn't mean anything. Where if you have half of your franchisee base, you're getting value from whether it's a brand name product. But I'd like to hear from you. Why are people converting?
So we just had a group out of Omaha join us, and they were doing about 1.7, 1.8 million. So
Solid.
yeah, right. It's a good sized business, but it comes down to our tagline, franchisor to franchisee, is strong margins and quality of life. Yeah, so they wanted stronger margins and they wanted a better quality of life. And they saw that we had the ability to help them get that. And predictably, they were able to validate that across our network with folks like Nate to know that you could do it. Now, is it magic? No, it takes hard work, following the systems, implementing it. But if you do that, the predictable results are pretty good. Not pretty good, they're really good.
And then for the startups, what are some ways that franchisees can really hit the ground running and basically open fast, break even fast, and then make substantial income? Where if you're making 100K, 120K, how can you get to 10K a month? Um, how can you help them get to that, meet those 3 points?
Well, the first thing is to set it up right. We make sure that we're in our FDD and our item 7. We're not just listing 3 months worth of operating capital for personal living expense. We're listing 12, right? So we put money in there for marketing for the first year. We're putting money in there to have an office manager start part-time in the business right out of the gates. And then just we have very sophisticated systems, and this isn't making pizzas. It's somebody, people that are drawn to us, they like a challenge. They like the variety of things you have to do, and they like some of the complexity, right? So
Probably also like project and goal oriented, right?
yeah, and they want to, hey, I want to help create something and see the end result. So it's a fun thing. So in starting up, there's a lot, like just even our accounting system, we support them the first year through a third party to help them sure up the accounting the first year, because if you don't get the numbers right, you're just not going to make the profit you want to make. Nate does a great job in his operation doing that, but that's critical. So I will tell you, the number one thing with all of that, I could say a lot of stuff, but the number one thing is, if you're going to join us, follow the system, do it as quick as you can, get over how you feel about it, and just faithfully follow the system and implement it. And I just went 2 years ago, I went through this myself. I've paid a company a 5-figure number to join their group. I pay them a 4-figure monthly number guaranteed every month. And I pay them not a single digit number, but a double digit number of every new franchise that we bring on to help us with our recruiting and expansion efforts. And personally, I have 38 years in franchising, more than the founder of this company. So what I had to do is they end up telling me, hey, Doug, now the key is to get to success with us, you got to adopt our system. I'm like, I think I've heard this somewhere, you know. And so they're like telling me the same stuff I tell new franchisees. And so I've lived it now just a little over 2 years. And you know what? There was a couple spots I had to go, look, I've probably sold more franchises, recruited more franchisees than this guy. But you know what? They just had some excellence in nuggets that we didn't have, and it's worked and it's helped.
And time-wise, maybe you could recruit a ton of franchisees working 70 hours a week, but can you do it in like a very like tight time frame and
Well,
be
I
super
tell you
efficient?
what, they made it more efficient, better results, a higher return, and that's what we do for new franchisees in this space, or existing ones with a conversion.
Yeah, I think core values, it extends to your clients, and in your case, your franchisees, but also vendors. Where my brother and I, we've started a couple of companies, but say for the last 4 years, we've been able to choose our clients, and that's been just like better than any monetary success, being
Yeah.
able to choose the people you work with. Where if you're an employee of a company, you can't choose that much, like who's working, and there's transfers and new manager. Just being able to choose the people you work with that have common values. I mean, I think it makes life just a lot more enjoyable and productive.
Well, absolutely. And I will tell you, if somebody doesn't match we call it a code of values. We have our foundational code of values and our operationalized code of values that work together. And our theme this year is be the values. So it's an important thing in our culture. And if somebody, authentically just really, our code of values aren't a match for them, or they can't commit to living with excellence, which means I can't live them perfect. They can't live them perfect. But living with excellence says, I'll be humble enough to admit, you know what, I did miss that one, and I'll work on it and get better. So the code of values, we will not award, and that's where we're at. We're not going to award a franchisee to somebody that isn't really fully behind that, because if they don't have that heart, then the service and following the systems probably is not going to be there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a long-term relationship. How many years is the contract for someone that wants to be a Dreammaker
It's a
franchisee?
10-year agreement.
Okay, yeah. So that's a lot of time, and you're paying a good amount of that franchise fee for that sales company. So you need to make sure that they're doing well and they're doing royalties to make it worthwhile for you and the relationship to
Oh,
work.
the cost to take somebody through our recruiting process, support and train them the first year is intense. We do a lot of training. We Our marketing guy will go out on site for 2.5 to 3 days, helping refine the marketing plans, shopping doing mystery shopping. So we put a lot into it, and the support the first year from the whole team. It's a lot of support, and then the intellectual property that we've developed over time. And so I've calculated about 4 or 5 years ago, I looked at it and said, we're going to invest over $100,000 in a new franchisee with all those things combined at the end of the first year. So it's going to take years before we break even, really. The franchise fee's not covering, not where we are today.
Yeah, I know it makes sense. And a lot of brands, at least the ones that are thinking long term, and we go through financial statements of a lot of these franchisors and we see kind of how they're making money. And the ones that are most successful, it's that revenue item of royalties and just really trying to grow the sales of franchisees like the operation Nate has in Utah.
Yeah, we do want to grow sales, but I tell you, we've been through the Great Recession and all these different things that taught us a lot of lessons. And so, what I want, and we want as a company is strong, stable, profitable growth done with excellence. Right? We just don't want growth. That's You can burn yourself out and not have a quality life. So we're going for a higher bar.
And Nate, you as a franchisee, you've gone through some of these economic cycles, and especially for the type of service that you provide, it's not so cheap. Where I imagine 2008 was pretty tough, but then on the flip side, I imagine the COVID pandemic maybe was good for your business in Utah.
It actually did. Business grew during COVID. I think a lot of people were staying home and not spending their money on other things and looking at their house going, "Hey, let's update."
And has it been tough, like, because so much demand for the products, for the employees, has it been hard navigating that? So you don't have to do a job 3 months out or 6 months out, but do it much faster?
Well, we're so busy that we are out a ways, and we have
Yeah.
had to learn with the different issues of getting products in, with anything nowadays here, that we've had to learn how to navigate that. And we're ordering, so we have to order products as soon as we sign that contract and get it staged and ready to
Yes.
go so that when we do start the project, we have everything. And that's something that, yeah, that works well.
And what's your operation look like? I know your father founded it years back, and then you joined and running it now as a general manager since 2018. How many employees? How many contractors? How big's your group?
So we have 7 full-time employees, and we've got 3 in the design sales department, a full-time office manager, and then 3 full-time, what we call lead carpenters, project managers essentially, that are out doing the work. And we do use or rely on quite heavily trade partners that we've built relationships up with over the last, decade. So we use that and to our advantage, and through that, between both our project managers and our trade partners, we're able to produce these jobs from start to finish, and utilizing our design team from the very beginning all the way through the finished product.
And Nate, what brought you into the family business? Because you retired from the Air Force. There's a lot of opportunities for military veterans, whether it's in franchising or going in the corporate world. What brought you into working with your father specifically in Dreammaker?
Well, before I went into the military, I had some construction experience. And then I also worked with him in his architectural firm doing drafting. So I had the
Okay.
design experience as well. And I really enjoy it. I love working with my hands and doing that kind of thing. So while I was in the military, my father opened this franchise. And as we had conversations, I just saw, talked a lot with him about what it was, what he did. The code of values was really important to me as well. Being a part of a company that had some strong values, and through all that, we kind of came to an agreement that when I left, there was a spot open here to start working and see if it was something that I wanted to do, to kind of be his exit strategy in a way.
Yeah, and I mean, it seems like you have all the tools in place with your father, and then backed by Doug and the other corporate officers and trainers, where probably your experience in the military helped, where it's executing and just following the set plan.
I think so. And Doug was talking about systems and following systems, and that's the military as well. You follow the systems. There are things written, and you follow those. And same type of deal here at Dreammaker. We've got a lot of written systems in place and checklists, and if you follow them, we're finding, like Doug said, there's success there.
Nate, what's a typical day look like? Like, is it a 9 to 5 type operation, and then you have the weekends free with family? Like, how does it work? What's a typical day and week look like for you?
Yeah, for me, it is basically a Monday through Friday job. Um, Typically 8 to 5 is what I'm working. And for me, I'm running the office part of the business, so overseeing the sales department and the office management, and just kind of taking care of that. And weekends are free. I don't have to work on the weekends. I typically don't have to work at nights. If it's a busy time of year, sometimes I'll have to work extra, but for the most part, like Doug said, quality of life is one of those things that a franchisee wants, and I've found that's what you get, barring some
I've
of
seen
those
a lot of
different times.
industries like where you just don't have what you guys live by, the strong margins and quality of life. Like fitness, for example, like there's very few fitness businesses that have a high margin and like great quality of life. Like someone might like the workout, but they're not going to like working 60 hours like and not making all that much money managing like a single studio. Or on the food side, where if someone doesn't show up on a Saturday or Sunday, like I've heard crazy stories where you leave Christmas dinner and you go in to make sure that everything's going fine. And it's just like, that's not quality of life.
Yeah, very, very true. I definitely enjoy my time with my family and covet that, and it's really super important to me to be able to go home and kind of leave work and spend time with my family and on the weekends as well.
It's priceless.
Yeah.
In terms of like getting clients, Nate or Doug, what's the best way, or what are the best couple ways to get clients, get projects?
Well, I can talk for us. Our franchise, we've been in business again quite a number of years, 18 years, and the majority of our business, well, at least half of our business comes from referrals or past customers, and then
And half is coming from where?
so half of it combined, well, about 60% right now is either referrals or past customers coming back to
Great.
us for work. The other 40% is other types of marketing, but internet is big right now. If you're doing
And is it mostly organic? Is it paid ads? What have you found most effective?
both, actually, we do a broad spectrum of internet marketing, and so that's both paid and organic is working well.
What we've found with like Vetted Biz is we're getting a lot of referrals for clients and customers to our website, and we also do a lot of SEO ads, and it's great because those people that pay that come to you through ads, they also are going to be referral sources. It's like really juicing the engine, so you get that referrals going even more, getting people in through ads or other mechanisms.
We got strategies and tactics, and it's kind of like a deck of cards. We probably have a little over 52, but you're constantly having to work at marketing and do it better. We work with our franchisees on that. We've all gotten better at it, and we continue to get better at it. There's no silver bullet. The closest thing to a silver bullet is doing awesome work. Having great
Yeah.
systems so that this sales process and the design process, that's a great experience. Like as low stress as possible. We cover all the details using computer aided design. In our model, we have a design center. You open up with a design center, so people know that okay, I can trust these guys. They put all this money in this building and the product in here. They're not going anywhere anytime soon. And so they have that experience, and we try to keep them from being overwhelmed. And then it gets in, but then it's where you make the money, frankly, is you got to estimate it right. But then the backside is you have to produce it profitably. And so the staging the job, as Nate talked about, organizing it and coordinating the materials, and then producing it, and double checking things. So we're very, I like to say 2 quotes. I say, excellence is not an accident. And to achieve excellence consistently, you got to go through the detail every time. That's that checklist Nate talked about. So in doing that, even our largest franchisee, they are killer at the checklist, right? Do they like them? No, nobody really likes them, but they're beneficial. And that's why planes don't fall out of the sky very often, because they mechanically go through those checklists. So that's the other component of it is you build these clients that just love you and give you hugs when you're done, on this project. And then they want to use you again. We're not the cheapest. And they'll even say that sometimes, like, well, they weren't the cheapest, but they were worth it. Right. And so we're not going to sell ourselves as the cheapest, but the best in the middle market. Middle to middle high end is what we focus on.
Could you talk a little bit about the financials, like how much franchisees are making, what the initial startup costs are?
Yeah, so I can share that. Like last year in 2021, this is published in our FDD under item 19, is our average. It's a record year. Last year, our average location did $1,451,000. So
solid.
Yeah, it's just, right. It's a solid number. And there's a in banking industry, they use the North American Industry Classification System. Any business that's a legitimate business with a payroll is going to be part of that system.
You got to choose the code.
Right.
Going through the list. I'm like, what are we? It's probably a little easier for your segment.
So we're remodeling, residential remodeling, and at 1.5 million or $1,451,000, that puts our average franchisee performing in the top 5% in the industry.
It's incredible.
And our number one franchisee, it puts them in the top 0.5%. Okay. So that gives you an idea of performance, and investment is related to performance. And if you want to do a little volume, you can go invest $30,000-$50,000 in this franchise, and you can do a couple $100,000 a year or whatever. But if you want to build a bigger business, it usually takes more capital to do that, right? If you're going to do a hotel, it's millions of dollars. If you're going to do a Dreammaker, it's not millions, but you're going to typically invest $210,000 to $395,000 to start the business. And yet our numbers speak for themselves on the return side. And then the other thing is, we pay a company about $4,000 a year franchise business review, and they rate us in 8 different categories, 32, I think it's 32 questions, and we have rated. That's a lot of numbers this year. So let me just share that the last 2 years we've rated as the number 1 home service company in America in that group with Franchise Business Review, and our score from a 0 to 5 is a 4.5. So that lets you know that's what our franchisees are saying about us. So you earn that, right? 8 years ago we were a 4.1, then we went to 4.2, 4.3, and then 4.4, and then last year we hit 4.5.
Yeah, I had Eric on the show maybe 6 months back, and on his website, there's tons of home service brands. So it's not like saying we're the best in this like very narrow niche. It's like, no, there's hundreds of home service brands, and being the top one actually means a lot.
Correct. Yeah, we're pretty happy about having that now 2 years in a row, 2020 and 2021.
And how are people coming up with the 390? Is that cash, or are they financing it with SBA loan? Or I should say up to 390. The entry.
Yeah, typically if it's a startup, it's going to be high. It's going to be right there. If it's a conversion, it'll be lower. So, people, 401k conversions, people will use. Some have the money, right? They've got the cash to invest. A lot of people are going after SBA to do it, or it's a combination of all 3 of those, depending on the person, or it might be a friend or relative that helps them get started. But those are the different ways they're putting the money together. But Our average franchisee, just looking at stats here recently, studying our who our ideal candidate is, and 80% of the people that join us, they have a net worth of $400,000 or $500,000. So
Okay. So they've already had some success, and with Dreammakers, it can really take them to that mil plus mark.
right, they want to grow that, but it really comes more to, again, that quality of life and getting involved in the community, being involved with their families, getting to make a difference in people's lives, and to share love and excellence in a high way that if you're making widgets and you're designing them, you never see the smile on anybody's face.
Yeah, and based on the numbers you shared, I'd imagine Dreammakers could be trading north of 1 million for a location if they're doing 1.4 mil in sales. And there's a lot of franchises where the recovery is like it just you're not going to get your money back. You'll get like 50% back when you go to sell. Where if you have a business that's doing top line revenue at 1.5, that's probably going to trade at a nice multiple of what you invested in should you want to get out of the business, or you could always have a second gen come in place like
That's
Nate.
right. Yeah. No, I mean, if you perform it well, you can do well.
And where are you most excited on expanding?
We're really focused. We're really wanting to build out the South since we're based in Texas. So
Yeah.
we really want to build Texas out more, and this South, Central, and East is a big focus right now. Just some strategies we have and places we want to open up. Those are some areas that we're really focusing in hard. But not that we've got a couple candidates we're talking to in the West, and so we're still going to grow the West, but that's where we're concentrating more right now because we just want to create some more density where we already have some density.
And some of those markets are growing like crazy. I mean, the amount of people moving to Texas from California and other states is nuts.
Yes, yeah, we've experienced home values going up at record paces we've never seen before.
Yeah, and I'm sure they come in with deep pockets. Where if you're moving from the Bay Area or LA and you purchase a single family home, like you're willing to spend 50, 100K plus to update it.
Yeah, Nate probably experienced that, I would guess, more. Nate, does that happen to you? Anybody from the West moving?
Yeah, we've had a few of our clients that come in and have the cash to just update the house they purchased, but we're seeing it all over, moving in with money to be able to update.
And have there been any major changes like in terms of the consumer with COVID? I imagine in the beginning they were like freaking out when you came into the house and then everyone got past the mask. And have there been shifts in kind of how you conduct the business and how consumers how you have to sell to consumers as well as serve them?
Initially, there was we kind of went to online Zoom type meetings. Well, typically we like to invite our client in here. As Doug mentioned, we have a design center. We like to invite them in to have that conversation so they can see different products and materials and understand that we're a company serious about making this a dream remodel for them and enhancing their lives while we're improving their homes. Um, so initially we kind of went to online stuff. After a while, though, we started seeing that people were wanting to come back in, wanting to start meeting in person, and so it's kind of come back around to where we're back a little bit more to what we call
Pre-COVID.
normal. Yeah. So and we're still going out to people's homes now, and it's kind of a feeling is back to what was pre-COVID.
Any concluding thoughts for someone that's interested in going into franchising, or specifically with Dreammaker? Maybe start with Doug and Nate. You can compliment.
Yeah, I think that folks that are interested in joining our brand, again, our code of values is probably the most consistent thing we hear people say. That we love that you have a written code of values, and then they can validate it with our franchisees or with Franchise Business Review. That 1 to scale 5 last year was our highest score. Our network put us at a 4.9. So it's an exceptional testimony that the people are. So we want the right people to be our franchisees, and so people that have kind of a natural attraction to real estate, design, construction, or even just the potential market. We had a guy in North Carolina. He just like, I just see the potential there, and he came on board, had a karate business. He still has that, but he's transitioning for a bigger opportunity and different. Work with adults versus kids, and get his nights back, right? Kind of like a fitness a business. So, and then again, I would say if you're going to be a franchisee, especially with us, you really got to follow the system. So with a Dreammaker franchise, we say that you've got to be smart. You don't have to be a rocket scientist, but you're dealing with a more complex business again than making pizzas. No offense to the pizza folks, but it is more complex. But that also is the big reason people join us. They love the variety, design, marketing, installation, in that final project. So if you're interested, we'd love you to go through our mutual evaluation process and take you through it. And again, we're going to look at awarding a franchise. We're going to make sure you're a right match for us, and we want to make sure we're a right match for you.
Yeah, huge monetary and time commitment that you put in place. So it's got to be worth it long run. And I think the complexity is what drives your strong margin. Where if you are just selling pizzas or some widget, like it's really tough to get that high margin.
Right.
Nate, how about for you?
Well, I would just kind of add to what Doug said. I think starting a business is never easy, and there is definitely time commitment involved in that. But again, following systems is super important. And I think, again, one thing that attracts many people to the Dreammaker franchise is that code of values and that quality of life, that potential of a quality of life if you follow the systems. The other thing that I really enjoy is having a franchise coach kind of dedicated to me, helping me with any questions and giving me some guidance as we're working through different things that we run across, and also just having a network of other contractors that we're not afraid they're our competition. I don't want to ask them questions. We actually get together quite often and talk and say, hey, we came across this. What, have you guys ever done this or that? Or it's just a great opportunity to network with people in the same industry and try and come up with solutions that we may all be having, or that just one of us may be having. So it's just a great opportunity to be involved and to be around a lot of people with the same same vision, and the same code of values.
Yeah, and I would add, Patrick, that in starting a business, it's kind of like having a kid if you're a parent. There's nothing more sweet and enduring or hard and challenging because when a baby's a baby, it's demanding. It takes extra effort. So that first 12 to 18 months, I would say, look, you've got to be willing to put in extra time, 10, 12-hour days to get that business off the ground.
Yeah.
Now, 5-6 days a week, not 7. We don't advocate that. But it takes
Saturdays when you're not getting bothered, you get some concentrated work done.
That's right. And it's just you're learning so much, so it just takes longer in the beginning. Once you get it up and going, then you dial it back down to, our goal would be that you're between 45, 50 hour week and have flexibility. Like our guy here in Waco, he coaches his son's baseball team, and one June he took off, 6 days to coach him plus a vacation, so you can get the quality of life, but he has to organize that a little bit different to make it happen.
And then also, the business has to be a certain size where you have the margin to have the employees to really step it up.
Absolutely.
Well, I'll definitely be sure to leave a link for Dreammaker, a link to your franchise website for those that are interested in further evaluating the opportunity. And I think maybe we'll also leave the link to the franchise business review if we can get that report for prospective franchisees, because there's a lot of great survey information that they do with the reports, and should speak for itself on satisfaction on the franchisee level.
You bet. We look forward to sharing that.
Well, appreciate it, guys. Thanks so much for joining.
Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you.